Welcome to Smart Sex, Smart Love. Where talking about sex goes beyond the taboo and talking about love goes beyond the honeymoon. Today's podcast is How to Last Longer in Bed. My guest today is Jeff Abraham, the CEO of Absorption Pharmaceuticals, the corporation that created Promescent, a line of sexual wellness products for individuals and couples wanting to improve their pleasure and performance in every aspect of their lives. After retiring from a successful career running a semiconductor engineering business, Jeff returned to the workforce and invested in Promescent. In 2012, he became the company's CEO, taking Promescent from a boutique brand available for purchase from physician websites to a global wellness company. Jeff is here with me today to talk about the orgasm gap between men and women and why partner sexual pleasure is important in a relationship. Welcome, Jeff.
My pleasure to be here.
Did I say it right, Promescent?
Promescent.
Promescent. Oh, God. Well, all right. So I knew I'd screw it up. I practiced right before. So tell us a little bit about it. What is Promescent?
Promescent, the actual delay spray. We have a whole line of products, but we're focusing on our primary product, and the one that literally brought us into the market and made us who we are is a male delay spray. And the reason why we're different, because there had been male delay sprays, primarily lidocaine, prior to Promescent. The drawback and the difficulty was it allows you to last longer. It increases IELT, which is interejaculatory latency time, but at the expense of completely numbing you up and also numbing your partner. And I tell people, obviously intimacy and sex is all about pleasure. And if all you're doing is you're both moving and sweating and without obviously feeling anything, receiving pleasure, you might as well go take a spin class or a yoga class because it's all the same thing. So basically what Dr. Ronald Gilbert is the founder of our company. He was a Hoag Hospital urologist. He also happened to be my neighbor, my friend, my doctor. He was kind of the Swiss Army knife all rolled into one. So I went in to see him one day in 2010 for my yearly physical. And he said, "Hey, I invented this product. I'd like to get your opinion. I know you're very savvy, retired at a young age. Okay, great." And I said, "What is it?" He says, "I developed a cure or treatment for PE." And I go, "You developed a treatment for physical education?" Because I'm 64 now. At the time, I was 53. I naturally referred to PE as, physical education. He goes, "No, premature ejaculation." I go, "Oh, like ED is erectile dysfunction." Yeah, one thing led to another. So what he had done, which was sheer brilliance, is lidocaine in its, pure form is a solid. It's a crystal. So when you apply it to the skin, it just sits on the surface of the skin and it numbs you and it numbs your partner. But Ron, in conjunction with a PhD organic chemist, changed the crystalline structure of lidocaine. When it's suspended in this eutectic formula, it becomes oil aqueous. When it becomes oil aqueous, it penetrates the dermis or stratum corneum, the outer layer of your skin. So it goes into the fatty tissue underneath, giving you the control, decreasing sensitivity, but allowing the man to have a higher degree of surface sensitivity. And because it's subdermal, it doesn't transfer to the female partner. So that one subtle change turned a Ford Taurus into a Ferrari, okay? Make no mistake about it, we are absolutely the best product out on the market, but it is strictly that. There's no other secret sauce formula other than that. That is the whole basis of Promescent. It's very key and it's crucial and it works. So it was pure genius. And, lidocaine delay sprays had been around for 40 years, but no one had the, fortitude to, really see this thing through and take the time. And, it's interesting because Ron was a urologist. And one of the reasons that he did this was because, when people came to see him for ED, he had Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, Stendra, Trimix extensions. They came to see him for prostate issues. He had 4 to 5 cures. They came to see him for incontinence. He's got 4 to 5 options. They came to see him for PE. He had 2 options. Number one were these numbing creams like Emla, which basically completely numbed you out. The other option was an off-label use of SSRIs. And like, if you're like me, when someone first said that to me, I go, "What's an SSRI?" I'm a non-medical person. Then someone said, "Oh, that's a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor." I go, "You're getting further away from me understanding this, not closer. I don't know what that is." They're what's referred to as the depression drugs. They're Paxil, Prozac, all those type of drugs. They allow you to last longer, no
Yes.
question about it.
You know,
But
wait,
again, we're
before
talking
you go
side
on,
effects.
I just want to stop you because I know
Yeah.
that people are listening. You're going, wait. Premature ejaculation, what is that? So I want to just make sure everyone understands that it's when a man ejaculates sooner than later and too soon for him and too soon for a partner. And that's
Correct.
what we're
That's a
talking
good
about.
point. Because
Right.
a lot of times people even get confused over what exactly is PE, the definition.
Right.
And
Right. And it
I
can
will
happen.
tell you that ISSM and SMSNA, which is the International Society of Sexual Medicine, and the Sexual Medicine Society of North America, whose conference I was at all last week in Scottsdale, they for many years did a disservice because they literally said that PE was when you never last more than 90 seconds, whether it's vaginal penetration, masturbation, oral sex, anal sex. So you could never, ever last more than 90 seconds. And I really think that was a disservice because if you last 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes and you don't last long enough to, satisfy your partner, then you may need something. And by definition, I think it should be more relaxed, and it should be if lasting longer would be beneficial to your well-being and your partner's satisfaction, then it's okay to go seek help, and not have
Right.
this narrow
Right.
definition. But
So
let's
these
step
days,
out of
well,
PE.
so these days, let me just say, so these days, you're right. What we're doing as sex therapists is individualizing and customizing and tailor making the therapy. But I want to go back to something else you said, which is that we often we had stopped giving these numbing creams. Those numbing creams are all over. You can go to a gas station, I think, and get, I don't know.
Everywhere.
They numb
Everywhere.
the other partner, right? So whether they're male or female, the man may be able to remain longer and feel some sensation, but she or he or they do not. And that's been
Yes.
the problem. Right.
And I applaud you for that because I've always said, why should there be a universal definition of what you need to achieve maximum intimacy or pleasure? It should be more subjective and look at the individual couple. I know couples that the man lasts 1.5, 2 minutes because the woman orgasms quite liberally and they have no issue, that they're happy with it. So don't put this definition. It should be basically
100%.
evaluating the couple, the
Yes.
man, woman, or man, or whoever the couple is, and saying, would you benefit by additional foreplay? But just when we're talking about heterosexual couples, I'll tell you something that is just mind blowing. Let's step out of the realm of PE and let's just talk about men and women in general. The average healthy adult male lasts 5 minutes and 42 seconds during penetration or thrusting during intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
The average healthy female takes 18 minutes to achieve climax during penetration or thrusting. And so people are used to using a lot of these coping mechanisms. Stop, start, think about baseball scores, think about your grandmother, and every man at some point or another in his life has gone through the experience. Oh my God, I hope she doesn't go reverse cowgirl. Oh my God, I hope this. But a lot of times people are just programmed to think, well, that's what you have to do. There's no real shame in saying, I would benefit if I didn't have to have these coping mechanisms. There wasn't a little guy on my shoulder going, oh God, not yet. I hope she doesn't do this, because that's anxiety. Anxiety and intimacy are two completely separate emotions. And I don't know about other people, but for me, anxiety would really, truly be a bummer towards intimacy. When I'm in intimacy, I don't want anxiety. Okay.
Right.
I want to feel pleasure. I want to feel reckless abandon. I want to feel relaxation and not anxiety.
Well, actually, anxiety is the number one, there can be physiological and other issues, but anxiety is the number one reason we see in our therapy rooms. And that's what you treat. That they come in for, sexual dysfunction when the sexual dysfunction is secondary, like you said, to the anxiety. It overrides.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always tell a lot of men that, when I have consultations with them or I'm speaking to customers and they're asking me questions, and they do suffer from rapid or premature ejaculation, I have this saying where I said, put one in the bank before you ever worry about your own pleasure. They go, what does that mean? I go, give your partner an orgasm, whether it be digitally, whether it be vaginally, with a vibrator or whatever, because that anxiety, if you do have a tendency to prematurely or rapidly ejaculate, I think you're already focused when you start intercourse. It's like, oh my God, can I last long enough to give her an orgasm? Mm-hmm. And I tell people that even though premature ejaculation is something that is happening to the male, the effect is as pronounced, if not more pronounced, for the female. Because if a man rapidly ejaculates, he's still ejaculating, he's still climaxing. The woman's like, excuse me, I'm over here. What about me?
Right.
And I think that anxiety and that shame feeds into it, and it creates more of a chance of rapid ejaculation because you're so focused on it. So I tell people, like it's a saying, but put one in the bank, so to speak. If you give your partner an orgasm prior to worrying about your own pleasure, you're going to be more relaxed and you'll have a higher probability of actually satisfying your partner again because you don't have that built-in trigger, that built-in anxiety, that mechanism to going, oh my God, can I last long enough? So
Right. And
you're right.
Yeah. I think also people need to know that it's really only 75 or 25% of women can have a vaginal orgasm. So sometimes you could keep going on and on and on, and it'll never happen because it's not supposed to happen.
That's a great point. If you look at a female, anatomy, the clitoris is not really inside the vagina. Okay. It's on top. So there's a very good chance, like you said, I've seen estimates from 20 to 30, 35%, but right in that 25% range, that women are not going to achieve climax through penetration or thrusting. So men, take a step back, focus on just giving your partner pleasure orally, manually, with a vibrator, with a sex toy, whatever, okay? And don't have that focus because 75% of the time you're going to be very disappointed. In fact, 100% of the time with certain women, you're going to be very disappointed. They don't, orgasm through, vaginal penetration.
Have you ever heard of the book Ian Kerner wrote in a while back now? She comes first. Yes.
Ian's a very good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's great. And it was a great book because it's what you're saying. The idea is take care of her first, then she's satisfied, and now you can take care of yourself, and women will be patient with that.
Absolutely. Well, I met Ian in 2011. He did a big blog on Sanjay Gupta's medical blog on CNN, all about PE, and featured us. And I go, who is this guy? I had just taken over the company, coming from a semiconductor industry. I was like, so I emailed him. He was very, very humble, very cooperative. And I was like, I can't thank you enough. He goes, hey, your product is the best thing out there. I've done my research, and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. And so we met, and I don't know if you ever met him. He is wonderful.
Oh,
he
yeah.
is just such a great guy. Yeah. And, it's really interesting because he is one of the people that out of everyone I've met in this business, I have the highest degree of respect for, because he really and truly is in it for one reason: to help people have better intimacy. Yeah. I have that book on my bedside. Now, here's the funny part. So I have a son who's 32 now, but without me even telling him, I went over his house one day. He was 23, right out of college. I see Ian Kerner's book on his nightstand. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, hey, I really applaud that. He goes, Dad, I, want to educate myself, and I think it's important. And I was so proud of my son for that young age, because not being this testosterone bashing, I'm Mr. Virile, And I told Ian, and Ian got a big kick out of that, Yeah. And but we need more people like yourself and like Ian who very calmly take a step back and go, let's really analyze what we're talking about. Let's get rid of the myth, the shame, all of the guilt, and let's just talk about pleasuring your woman.
What about side effects from this? People are going to say, well, what about what's going to happen? How long do I stay numb? And is there any other side effects?
It's amazing. Okay. The effect lasts from 45 minutes to an hour. Okay. Which is certainly more than enough time to get the job done. In fact, I tell people that if you go more than that, you better start worrying about technique and not about lasting longer, Okay. Yeah. And so the side effects are absolutely minimal. Lidocaine has been around for, 60, 70 years. It's covered under a monograph. That's how safe it is. And, we did
what does that mean?
A monograph. Okay. So if it's a novel drug and there hasn't been enough studies on it, you go through a full-scale FDA clinical trial. If the combination of ingredients in your product have been around for a specified period of time with literally, no known side effects, you're covered under a monograph, because the FDA says we are so comfortable with this after a prolonged period of usage that we know there's no severe side effects. Okay. Now, we've been on the market commercially now a little over 10 years, I think 10 and a half years. We've sold over 1 million bottles. Okay. Wow. And every pharmaceutical company, we have a contraindications line that if you do have severe side effects, you call them, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. The only calls we've had in the history, 10 and a half years and over 1 million bottles, are, hey, if I want to get my wife pregnant, is this okay to use? Is it okay to use this with a condom? That kind of stuff. Yeah. If I have an allergy to lidocaine, is it okay to use this? And even if you have an allergy to lidocaine, you're fine using Promescent. Just know you might get a little itching, might get a little bit of a rash, that type of stuff. So
Okay.
it is extremely safe and it's very effective. The efficacy is very, very high on it.
I also like that you added anal sex because I think gay men and just even heterosexual mixed sex couples where they're having anal sex could benefit from this. And there's no numbing to the partner receiving anal sex.
Correct. Now, the reason there isn't because after you apply it, you wait 7 to 10 minutes until it absorbs. So you do have to use it properly. If you spray it on, and that's why if you see a lot of our ads, I tell people, no matter where you want to buy it, because we have a website, where it's for sale, where we do really, really well. We're on all kind of other sites. We're in retail. I tell people start at the website because there are testimonials. It shows you how to properly use it. It comes in a meter dose spray bottle, so you get the exact amount every time. Oh. So that way you can titrate it. I need 2 sprays. I need 3 sprays. I need 4, depending. Using it recreationally, I need 1 spray. So I always tell people start at the website because number 1, I want you to make sure you're using the right product for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. Number 2, I want to make sure you're using it correctly. That's important.
It's so important. I just want to make sure people are really clear. We are not talking about erectile dysfunction. This does not give you an erection. We're not talking about delayed ejaculation. We're only talking about what's called rapid ejaculation, PE, premature ejaculation, and it's when it happens too fast. I just want people to know that because they listen to this and they're going to get confused, I think.
I literally sometimes am amazed because I have people literally because you'll laugh when I tell you this. We have this interactive chat feature on our site, and I work it personally a couple hours a week. And people go, "You're that short-staffed?" I go, "No, we have plenty of people to do that." It's important for me as the CEO of this company to be in touch with people to use our product. I want to know how they found it. Like, did you hear a podcast? Did you see an ad? Did your doctor tell you? That kind of stuff. It's important. I want to know what else you've used. It's very important for me to understand our place in this whole food chain. You know what I mean? Not only how you find us, what you're going to use, all that kind of stuff. I am shocked at how people are on our site and everything else, and they're like, well, this helps me get an erection, right? And I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, what part of it? There's nothing but you're right. It's very important because I think part of the thing is people are afraid and they don't want to talk about it publicly. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. Yeah. Yes. And, we couldn't be any clearer. This particular product, Promescent Delay Spray, does not help you get an erection. What it helps you do solely is not ejaculate prematurely or rapidly. It allows you to have more time, during intercourse or during oral sex or whatever type of sex you're having, anal sex, to satisfy your partner. And that's the most important thing.
I like that, yes. And I might even include that there are things you can do, like edging and stopping before you use this product. I mean, I think the product's great, but I think those other things could work too. And if they don't, then the product. What do you think of that?
Here's what I tell people. It's funny. You and I are on the same wavelength. I tell people, what you want to do in any situation is start with the least, invasive, the absolute easiest way. Strengthen your PC muscles. And a lot of men go, that's for women. No, it's not. It's for men too. Okay.
And what's the PC muscle? Say it. What is that?
Pubic coccyx muscle. Okay. And it's the actual muscle that you flex when you're urinating. You know what I mean? And a lot of men have a hard time coming into, realization they have one and feeling it. Because I know 11 years ago when I first started this, a couple urologists and therapists told me, try. I go, men have? I didn't know. Yeah. And I remember the first couple of times I go, is that it? Is that it? And then you start getting the feeling. And I'll tell you right now, and being 64 years old, men, strengthen your PC muscles no matter what. It helps you with urinary control. Yeah. It actually helps you with more intense orgasms. It helps you with control of your, if you're going to the gym, and this is the beauty, you don't have to go to a gym. There's no machine in a gym to strengthen your PC muscle. You can do it sitting at your computer. You can do it wherever. I'm
doing it right now. Did you know that? Are you?
I wasn't, but now that I think about it, okay, there we go. I mean, there you go. It really is so basic. And a lot of men are intimidated. Well, that's for women. I go, no, it's for you have a PC muscle. and you have benefits, you have sexual benefits from,
Yeah.
strengthening it, but there are non-sexual benefits as well.
I love that
So
you're
it's
saying that.
extremely important.
Yeah, and
to
a
do
lot
that.
of men don't do it. A lot of straight men, because they get confused. Their anal muscle, their PC, and so then they don't want to do the anal muscle. That's gay to them. I don't know if you know this. A lot of straight men are so worried about the anus and anything to do with the anus that it's gay.
Trust me, I grew up in a small coal mining town in Western Pennsylvania. I know all about homophobia.
Okay.
I tell people sometimes I love being from there. I love my family. I love Pittsburgh sports going back. But I sometimes think I didn't move. I escaped. Okay. It's like, even now, the mindset is just, wow.
Yeah,
I have friends that are my age, 64. Why are you involved in that? I stopped having sex 15 years ago. The wife just doesn't satisfy me. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, that's what I love about what you're promoting here. That's why I wanted to have you on the show. You're promoting sexual pleasure, but not just pleasure for the man, pleasure for the woman and any partner, where most of these products are all about him and not about her.
I wish I was kidding, but if you look at the name of some of our competitors, Duration, you're not going to laugh when I tell you this, Stud 100 with two, horses butting heads. Wait, brace yourself. Drum roll for this one. Do Me Long and Hard. I'm like, does that just not signify some caveman dragging a woman back to the cave and going, I'm going to pound on? Everything we do is about couples relationship, couples enhancement, and we don't care whether your partner is male, female, trans, whatever. Okay. You can't be the liberal moral police. Okay. Everyone is entitled to the maximum amount of pleasure in their life, whether it's, sexually, parent, family, whatever. Okay. And the bottom line is communication is the number one tool. And until you're open and honest about who you are, and what you face every day, you're not going to improve anything. So part of what we tell people is talk to your partner. Find out how you can have better intimacy with your partner.
Right.
And then don't be afraid to seek out things that help you have better intimacy. One of the things that always makes me laugh is we have a lot of men that will buy our product and they will say, I got to make sure my partner doesn't know I'm using this product. How do I make sure? And I'm like, whoa. I tell everyone the same thing. If you're close enough to be someone to be intimate with them and you're swapping bodily fluids, why would you want to hide something? Would you want someone hiding something from you? No. So therefore, don't hide something with your partner. It is a couples. I don't know. It's just, maybe it's because I'm 64 and I'm not a millennial. I don't understand, the mindset.
No, this is true for people your age too. And I think I wanted to say this, that a lot of people think, and I thought this too when I first became a sex therapist, technique, product, but all those things are, while they're important, sexual sexual conversations have to happen. You don't just say, well, I'm going to go do this, like you said, not tell my partner or tell my partner and then just go do it. You have to have a discussion about it. How do you feel about it?
Absolutely. And it makes you feel more comfortable. Can you imagine the anxiety? Oh my God, I hope she doesn't try to go down on me too quick before the 7 minutes is up. She may go numb. I mean, that's anxiety. But one of the things I don't understand, and this is something that blows my mind, I have never heard anyone feel shame if they're a diabetic taking insulin. I've never heard any, person with cancer being ashamed of taking chemo. Okay.
Yeah, good point.
Let's step out of rapid or premature ejaculation. Let's talk about the average healthy adult male, the average healthy adult female. The average healthy adult male lasts 5 minutes and 42 seconds during penetration or thrusting. The average female takes 18 minutes to climax. There's actually a term, people call it the arousal gap. Mm-hmm. Why would you be so freaked out and going, oh my God, I have to hide this, when you know that the majority of men suffer? And there are men who are very fortunate who don't have any issue whatsoever, but you can have a bout of prostatitis and get acute PE. Yeah. You can literally, and I tell people that if you go a rather long period of time without having sex, you're going to have a quicker trigger because you haven't had a release in a while. Mm-hmm. If you're with a new partner, you're going to have a tendency to ejaculate more quickly, only because the senses are heightened. There's a lot more, heightened desire because there's the unfamiliar, Yeah. So we have people that say, I love your product. I don't use it all the time, but if I'm with a new partner, if we haven't had sex, my wife's on a business trip, then she comes back, I go on a business trip. It's a while in between. So there's even people that don't need it all the time that use it sporadically,
Well, I like what you said. Yeah. I like the first thing you said, which was everything that you said, but the first thing is make sure you go to the doctor too, that you rule out anything physiological, because you could be trying to treat something that isn't treatable this way. It's physiological.
Not only that, what if what you're treating and you go, well, I'm fine now because I'm treating this, has larger health implications? What if you have diabetes, and you're going, I'm more worried about my PE than my diabetes? Let me tell you something. You may be able to treat your PE, ignore your diabetes, but when you're dead, you're not going to really care whether you last long enough because you have no more consciousness, okay?
Right.
So the first thing you do is go to a physician and get a workup to make sure this isn't a symptom of some much larger health issue. Because a lot of times ED is about heart issues, diabetes, that kind of stuff.
I know.
PE, same thing. So I always tell people, consult your, number one, your urologist or general practitioner. Then when you know that it is a sexual issue, then consult a sex therapist, okay?
Yes.
Because a lot of these issues have a psychological component.
Right.
Even if it starts with a physiological issue, there will be a psychological component that then comes in because of the coping mechanisms, because of the anxiety and everything else. So what you don't want to do is just treat something. You want to eradicate the problem if you can long term. And you may find out that doing PC, doing edging, stop, start, really is all you need. And I make it an analogy. I say, if you have a candle and you want to put it out, don't immediately grab a fire hose, okay? The fire hose will put out the candle, but your room's going to be flooded and you're going to have all these other issues. So start with a little drop of water. If that doesn't work, get a watering can, put it on the candle. Don't start putting the candle out with a fire hose, okay? Work your way up to that.
All right, so we have to end on that note. But before we do, tell us, Jeff, it's been great having you on our show.
Yeah.
Where can they find this? I'm going to say it wrong way. Promescent. Promescent. Where can they find it, and where can they find you?
Okay. You can find Promescent. I always suggest start on our website. That's www.promescent, Promescent. So go there, find out you're using it correctly for the right reasons.
Is it
.com? You can buy it there. What's that?
.com or .org?
.com, Promescent.com. We're just like Amazon, free shipping, 60-day full money back guarantee for any reason. You can go buy it on Amazon. We have a huge presence on Amazon. You can go buy the delay spray. There's 1,000 Walmarts that carry it. There's every Target that carries. All the GNCs carry it. I mean, you can pretty much find it everywhere. There's a bunch of urologists that you listed on our site that actually carry it, and some therapists in their office.
Yes.
Okay, so you can do it in conjunction with a visit. So the first thing you do is you go to the website and educate yourself, make sure you're buying it for the right reason, and you'll see videos from Dr. Anthony Belchunas, Mohit Kira, showing you proper usage, why to use it, all those kind of things. Then we don't care where you buy it. If it's the right product for you, just buy it, okay? Amazon, Walmart, Target, GNC, us, wherever.
Good.
Now, if you want to contact me personally, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. It's Jeff Abraham, JeffAbraham, Jeff Abraham 111. And I will tell you that I answer every email, every question. You can direct message me. Obviously, if you don't want it public, I will answer every one. You're welcome to, email Dr. Joe. You're welcome to, reach out to you. You can pass them along to me. This is so important that we educate people. Like I said, I answer every question, no matter who it's from. That's critical.
Yep, and it's all going to be on the website. They're going to find it on there. So thank you so much, Jeff. We do have to go. I just want to say, if you liked this podcast, and I hope you did, you'll rate it, get online and rate it for me. And you can hear more of my podcasts at smartsexsmartlove.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. It's at Dr. Joe Kort, DrJoeKort. And you can go to my website, JoeKort.com. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.